Okay, can you talk a little bit about the mega backdoor IRA and when the 58K or 64K limit does not apply? Now, I presume you're talking about the Roth backdoor 401K, okay? Because the IRA, you're getting 6 or 7, if you're 50 or over a year in, that's it.
Now, Matt, stop. Put it in English for everybody else. Say, this is what Chet's asking. There's this term called, can I do that? I'll just say that fast.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, everybody, there's this thing called a mega Roth. And it's out there on the web. We've got comments, we've got articles on it and videos too. But some people are out there going, you need to do a mega Roth. You could do up to 58 or 64, and they kind of go through this mega Roth concept. And everybody's like, oh, I want to get on that bandwagon. I want to get a ticket to that train. Choo choo, get me on that money train. So that's what Chet's asking about. How do I get this mega backdoor IRA Roth going? And then Matt, go ahead, put it in context. I just want to build context.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to need a 401k, and most people doing this are going to be using a solo 401k.
Can't do it with an IRA.
You can't do it with an IRA. Okay. You're getting 7 in a year max, and that's assuming you're over 50. Everyone else, we're doing 6. Okay. So if I want to do this 58K, it's actually a mega backdoor Roth 401k to be specific. Now, how do I get 58K, 64 if you're over 50? How do I get those maximum amounts in to a 401k? Because that's the maximum contribution you can put into a solo K. 19.5, the employee contribution can be Roth from the beginning. Okay. But all the rest, the other, what is that? 38.5 or whatever. That is all traditional contributions made by the employer, typically. Now you can convert that immediately to Roth. Boom. There you go. You've got 58K Roth dollars in a 401k per year.
And if you own the company 100% you, that's easy.
Yeah. And that'll take about a W-2 if you're an S Corp. You'd probably be an S Corp for those who would be doing this, have this type of income. You're going to have about a W-2 of about 140 grand to pull that off. Okay. Now, the second way to get there is to do the 19.5 in Roth and the other 38.5, where am I at? 39.5, whatever it is, 38.5, I think, to get to the total 58,000. The other 38.5 you could do as after-tax contributions. It's not a match. It's not the employer contribution of 25% of your wages. It's more employee contributions made after tax. So let's say you're like, Matt, I only took a W-2 for 100 grand, or only want to do a W-2 for 80. Okay. And you're wanting to get this 58K in. It's possible to then instead do 38.5 here, the difference. I haven't done the math here, but you know what I'm talking about. To get up to the 58K. All right.
38.
Is that right? Okay. Okay. I was hoping my handy dandy, co-host CPA could confirm. Yes, thank you. All right.
There you go.
So you can do that as an after-tax contribution and then convert it to Roth. And you don't get a deduction because it's after tax, but you don't pay tax either when you convert it. So it just is like you pretty much did 58K in Roth from the beginning. Now in a solo K, you can do this, and our solo K allows for after-tax contributions. Now it takes some work. I just want to say, when a lot of clients ask a lot of these strategies, I think sometimes when they go do it, they're like, ugh, how come I have to do it this way? Well, you're using a loophole. You're stretching the tax code in your favor. You gotta actually tie the knots and walk through them. Like the loophole is not like the easy button that's 6,000 in your Roth. Okay. That's 19.5. That's the easy part. So just know there's some extra steps. But there is a way, absolutely, to get 58K in of Roth dollars per year.
Now, if I may say two things. One, you could do the mega backdoor Roth at your day job. The mega backdoor Roth 401k, people. You can.
Yeah.
Because you're not relying on your employer to match the rest up to 58. You're just doing
the first. Yeah. That's the first clients I've seen do this. And frankly, that's who this strategy was created for. a lot of people in the solo K space have came around to it, and I'm like, big deal. You've always been able to do this, because just convert your employer contribution to Roth on day 2. And it's really only the really high income people really willing to go this far, 60 grand basically in Roth a year. Your W-2 might be 140 grand anyways. So I've always been like, okay, we've always been able to do this. Now this strategy came about because the IRS gave a ruling about 4 or 5 years ago on, can after-tax contributions in a 401k be converted to Roth? And they said yes.
Okay.
And those people Mark mentioned, the people with their day job, you're a high income earner, you've got the cash and ability, you want to be able to throw, because not everyone can throw 60 grand into a retirement account every year.
Yeah.
I get that. And if you're like not there yet, don't worry about it. This is a later thing.
Yeah.
And that's where I first came upon it, was actually oil and gas workers, these clients of mine that self-directed their Roth IRAs, but then in their 401ks and their day job, they were doing this because they were making like 200 grand a year almost. Mm-hmm. And they were like, we don't need this money. We freaking live in like Alaska on in company approved housing, they're throwing it in and doing and Roth. I thought it was really cool. So
now here's my second point. For those that do have a solo 401k, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, you're actually better off to do the after-tax employee contribution and don't rely on your company to do the remaining 25%. And the reason is 2 words: self-employment tax. Self-employment's hyphenated, people, 1 word. So self-employment tax is, see, if you have an S corp, you're trying to take the lowest possible salary. That's the strategy. So you're going to take what's called reasonable comp, take the lowest possible salary on what the IRS is going to let you get away with. And that's, we've been teaching that for 20 years. And we feel very confident on a matrix that helps you get there. And then whatever's left, you do your 19.5 and a 25% company match on your total salary. That's what we've been teaching for years until this little mega backdoor Roth 401k came around. And then we said, oh, well, I could take more salary and do the company match to get to the 58, but that sucks because you've got to take way too much in self-employment tax. So we really we dismissed the mega backdoor Roth because of that SE tax issue. But then we learned about this after-tax employee contribution, which doesn't require you to take that massive salary to get there. Theoretically, you're only going to need a salary of about 80, because you got to take your salary minus your 15 for FICA. So you're probably going to be around that. So that's the beauty of this. So a little more technical for some of you out there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely right.